Alright then, let's get this over with. And before we get into things, a bit of a point. You are allowed to criticise what happened yesterday without being aligned to Hamilton or Verstappen. It seems like people can't seem to figure that out. And in fact, I've seen a lot of stuff from Ferrari fans, Alfa fans, McLaren fans, and people who aren't Lewis or Max fans going, what the hell happened? You've got guys like Jason Plato or Tiffany Dell saying stuff about it, and all anyone can say is biased Brit. It's getting boring. I'm also not saying that Max isn't a worthy champion. He was by far the most consistent guy in the field this season, but the whole ending to that race, I'm not going to say it was rigged because that's preposterous, more than it was all for the show. By that, they wanted a last lap showdown because drama. And admittedly, I've not been in the mood to do these videos for a while now. Probably since Silverstone, because everything this season has just been trying to wring out as much drama as possible, and it's distracted everybody from what should have been a great championship fight. But at the same time, it's clicks and I hate myself for it. And if you've been around for a while, you know that I've been saying that this has been F1's problem for a while, that there's too much emphasis on the show. Rule changes seemingly on a weekly basis that's done more harm than good, since Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari can spend their way out of a problem, while people like Haas, Williams and Alfa start to slide backwards. Now sure, one bloke winning every year can turn people away. Just look at the Schumacher years, look at the Vettel years, and now the Mercedes and Hamilton years. But the focus on how good the sport looks on television seems to take precedence, especially now with F1, like football here in the UK, being behind a pretty hefty paywall. And some of you might already be thinking, but what about Brazil 2008? Because that was on the last lap, was it not? And yeah, you're right, it was. But Brazil 2008 wasn't decided because the race director decided, yeah, I'm going to do this, only to play the Uno reverse card 2 minutes later like he'd used one of those fortune-telling 8-balls. Brazil 2008 was decided by the weather intervening at the right or the wrong time, depending on how you look at it, and Toyota scuffed their strategy, admittedly, a bit like Mercedes had in this race. But that said, Brazil 2008 was natural. It was an oh my god moment. You were looking at the sky, waiting for the rain, if it was ever going to come. Basically, it was an oh my god moment like all those other great sports endings, like the final day of the Premier League in 2012 with the Aguero goal, the Rugby World Cup final in 2003 with Johnny Wilkinson winning it with the last kick of the game. You've got the 1985 World Snooker final that had 19 million people watching after midnight in the UK, and Boston coming back against Toronto in Game 7 after being 4-1 down in the third period. Patrice Bergeron, you hero. Okay, that's probably more examples than you want to hear because you don't care for those sports, but they happened naturally. Now yes, Latifi stacked it and that does require a safety car. However, this feels like it was done because they wanted that one lap sprint to the end. This cannot finish behind the safety car type of thing, because that's not entertaining. And even if it wasn't done for the purposes of having a proper showdown, it still isn't a good look. What also has people asking questions is that under the often quoted rule that was thrown around like a bunch of students referencing something on their thesis, is that, and I'm going to read this off the script, if the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so and the message lapped cars may now overtake has been sent to all competitors, any cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass the cars on the lead lap and the safety car. Instead, only the cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen were allowed to unlap themselves. The rule also states that the safety car must stay out another lap so that the cars can return to their position in the queue, and then they get released. So under the rules, the race should have finished behind the safety car. Again, this isn't "wow, Hamilton robbed," it's written in black and white. But this has been the thing all season. Inconsistencies with the FIA, the stewards and the rulebook. Yeah, Max wasn't penalised for driving Lewis into the next postcode in Brazil despite all the drivers going, but it says here we can't do that. And drivers in Austria have been penalised for running people out wide there. So you're not allowed to run people over the white line at Austria, but you're allowed to drive somebody into the next country somewhere else. And again, that's not a Lewis versus Max thing, that's, again, the rulebook. Then there's also the remark of, it's a motor race, Toto, when the Uno reverse card was played. Maybe they should use that line at the Indy 500 whenever there's a safety car with 3 laps to go. Adding to this, on Friday, this Friday, the 17th of December, there will be an election to elect the new FIA president to succeed Jean Todt. And you've got to wonder what the first order of business might be. In the background, you've then got Horner and Wolff doing their thing, which I don't think is right, considering Horner's comments after Austria saying that it was all becoming like football with crowding the referee. And you've probably seen it if you do follow football, a player goes down and suddenly the man in black is surrounded by people in the same coloured shirts as the guy on the floor trying to influence the decision. That needs to be knocked the hell off. The race director should make a call and stick to it, which is funny considering earlier in that same race the race director had told Red Bull, "We've made our decision, now sit down and shut up." But whoever won, the outcome would be tainted. And, I'm using that in inverted commas, by the way. Max won, so it's because of Masi and Netflix. If Lewis had won, people wouldn't shut the fuck up about Silverstone. But it is mad when you think about it, because Lewis should have won the race, but Max should have won the championship. But if Lewis won that race, he would have won the championship. Crazy. It's almost like everyone's as bad as each other, and it has been a nail-biter of a season, you can't deny that, but it could have done without all this unnecessary drama at every turn. WWF1 was the term that I and others have been using. But fair play to Max and Lewis after the race. They hugged it out, Lewis applauded Max on the podium, congratulated him and all that stuff. Lewis's dad went and congratulated Max as well. It was a bit like Massa in 2008, how gracious he was in defeat despite losing it literally at the final corner. So if they can be civil with each other, then the fans goading each other online can be the same. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad afterwards. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't the shit show I was anticipating. Next year we'll have all new regulations and all new cars. So what will happen next season? Will Red Bull still be at the top? We know they and Honda went all out because of Honda's last year, and Mercedes didn't really update the car because they were focusing on 2022 along with a lot of other teams. Now personally, I'd love to see McLaren back at the top more often, winning more races and things like that. And obviously my boys are Williams, but that's just a pipe dream. On the plus side, didn't finish last in the championship. And apparently Lewis has also asked Toto to withdraw the protest, but I'm not sure Toto is going to let that go. I mean, he's got a right to be hacked off, but I'm not sure there's a lot he can do. So with Max the new champion, we need to give some spotlight to the outstanding drivers that spent the entire season in the massive shadow that Hamilton and Max created. And for me, those are Sainz, Norris, Ocon and Gasly, because Sainz was the only one to join a new team and then beat his more experienced in that teammate. Gasly dragged his Toro Rosso or whatever they are called now to some decent results. Norris carried McLaren and Ocon won his first race, as well as finishing within an arm's reach of his more experienced and talented teammate. 7 points I think the gap was between Ocon and Alonso come the end, and in fact, checking on the final standings, Sainz, Norris and Leclerc were very, very close come the end. I think it was just 1 point between Norris and Leclerc. And McLaren fans will probably be very disappointed to miss out on third in the Constructors, but that might be because they focused on 2022 or they just messed it up. I don't know, or it might have been Ricciardo not being consistent enough. Thoughts down below. But anyway, it's over. Now to find some stuff to do until March. I'm doing a Sunday night Assetto Corsa Competizione series that I can start streaming now that the F1's over. Just because I didn't want all the chat to be F1 related because of the two double headers and it's every Sunday night. And I just want to not do F1 stuff for a change. I'm chilling, I'm racing. Last thing I want to be doing is just chatting F1 constantly. So if that's something you want to watch, and I'll try and set that up for a Sunday night thing. But obviously there'll still be the stories, those are fun, but I'll try and stream the ACC stuff, whether that's here on YouTube or over on Twitch. I'm not sure. I mean, the next race is at Brands Hatch, and the last time I streamed a race there, it didn't go to plan. But Max has won the title, and deservedly so, since he was the most consistent driver over the course of the season. Whether that means a new era of dominance, that's going to have to be a wait-and-see approach because of the rule changes and the things that can change in between that. I mean, it's like, that's why the MP44 was so dominant. Everybody was focused on 1989. So let's just focus now on F1 2022 with the new cars and see how the field gets shaken up, if indeed it gets shaken up. And if we could have next year without the constant drama and bitching between the fan bases, that would also be grand. It doesn't seem to happen in any other sport. Well, I mean, this manufactured drama, that is, and it just detracts from what should have been a great season. I mean, it was a great season because it was so close, but all this stuff going on in the background. So that's it from this portion of the channel for a bit. Leave any and all thoughts down in the comment leaving area under this video and get a discussion going, because after all, that's what this series is for. And please, please, please be civil about it. I don't want to have to keep deleting comments because people are being children. You know, if you are a Max Verstappen fan that had turned off your TV because you thought it was all over, let me know. Or maybe you're a fan of neither driver and fans of other teams and drivers and you're just as confused as a lot of other people. You know, let me know. And while on the way down, if you've enjoyed this grumpy bald twat's opinions on stuff, you can leave the video and like. And for more content like this, along with Can F1 handle and the story stuff, then be sure to subscribe and get L bell on so you never miss out on a future video. Massive thanks as ever go out to the good folk of Patreon, and if you do want to join these good people in giving me a monthly tip, you can do so by following the link in the description, where you'll also find a link to Discord and some vague directions to my social media. So that's it from this season. I've been AdmiralLaWind. Have a great day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again soon for another video. So until then, goodbye. I better learn how to drive that 2022 car, hadn't I?